How you doing, Virgo? See what we got going on for you. First portion would be the tarot. Second portion will be a little bit of your astrology and how Saturn's transit will affect you. Is all up right? Okay. Messages for Virgo that will help them onto their highest path. Messages for Virgo. Messages for Virgo. Let's see what we got for now. You got the Lovers in reverse. This is a ending of a soul contract, an ending of a relationship. This could be due to codependency or jealousy. The Hooded Man. It's 9, that's the Hermit. The Hermit in reverse. Yeah, it could have been due to codependency, staying too long in a relationship or a job or situation that you weren't exactly emotionally fulfilled in, but you stayed because of the history or afraid of being alone or afraid of change in some kind of way. The foundation is the 7 of Stones in reverse, a lack of healing. A lack of giving to the situation. A lack of charity. This could be, you know, due to someone not giving as what they should or what was necessary to maintain a relationship or situation, whether it be communication, thoughts, time, and effort. So there's a lack in the healing of a situation, a lack of working on things or working things through in a collaborative manner, a lack of being generous towards each other and looking out for each other's needs. It could have been something that was lasting a long time, as in like it was like a slow ending. It was progressive, but it was slow, and it finally became an ending of it because there was a lack of wanting to hear the other out, wanting to see the other side or see fault that the other has within each situation, because it was like a kind of an apathy or a disassociation, that it was like a resolved into a situation that you felt like wasn't improving in any way, but you didn't want to leave it, so you kind of just like existed within it and kind of like became an engine running on a track on a course, but you don't have your heart into it, just kind of doing the day by day because of the comfort of the familiarity of it. The Hermit in reverse too, it could be someone who acts impulsively, someone who needs a lot of attention, who doesn't have a lot of boundaries with other people, and who doesn't really look within. someone could have been really selfish within the situation, or somebody, and maybe someone on the other side just expected a lot more than what was given, or what they expected of the other person. In the past, this is Queen of Vessels. In the past was the Queen of Cups. Now the Queen of Cups is someone who is emotionally giving, someone who is very empathic, someone who is empathic in a way that they are deeply in tune with other people's emotions, and through that they could actually pick up emotions, vibrations, and energy within any environment that they're in. They're very sensitive to that. And it's also, a Queen of Cups is someone who actually wants to accept and actually give love and nourishment, and who cares deeply about the people that they're involved with. Someone who wants to give a lot of love to this situation, and perhaps you both did in the past, and you made some kind of honest effort in order to do that. Now, the water is depicted as like kind of like the unconscious, the feelings and emotions. This is also the unconscious. There is definitely love on both sides. And your goal, though, now that this kind of ended, something that has a lot of lack of healing, and you found yourself needing to move out of this situation because it just like things came to a head, and you didn't want to keep yourself stuck anymore, and it's something that you were unhappy, and it became a situation that you just couldn't really ignore. Now your goals, your conscious awareness, the best that can be accomplished at present. 6 of Arrows, that's 6 of Swords. That is transition. This is moving away, or moving away from a situation. There could be a move in your future, a move in job, home, career, town, a separation, and a separation of homes. It's like a moving on and leaving behind this past situation, something that kind of, which instead of became more of a comfort, it actually started to feel like it was holding you back. And maybe it was okay at one point to just exist within it and stick around for the comfort of it, but that became too kind of like too challenging along the way as it is, because it felt like things weren't getting any better, things were getting worse, and but maybe you and both of you, like collectively, started to feel like you're missing out on something, and perhaps you were in some kind of way. You're ready to move forward and move on from this situation. Now, in your future, this is 6 of Stones, exploitation. This could be also charity. There's no more giving to this situation. Perhaps in the past there was a giving to get in some situations. Somebody was overworking while somebody was underworking, underperforming because of it. And there just became a kind of a resentment towards it. And the more somebody underworked, the less the more that the other person had to compensate and vice versa, and it just became too volatile and unfulfilling to just keep going on. Six of Stones, it's like I'm not giving to this situation anymore. I feel like I wasn't getting what I was worth, and now I'm ready to move on because it's an ending towards something. It was dead for a while, and now I have to move on. Ten of Swords. This is instruction. This is betrayal. This is having those 10 swords within your back. And it's interesting that they would name it as instruction, because it was like universe coming to teach you something, to get you to realize something that you didn't want to see, to try to get you to move and to learn some kind of lesson that you kind of wanted to avoid, and to the point that it became unavoidable and that you couldn't ignore it anymore. And it was trying to prompt you into evolve and grow, but then each time you didn't, the more problems started to increase, the more fighting, the more resentment, the more bickering, that neither of you felt like you could live up to anyone else's standards. And so you started to kind of like attack each other more and no longer communicate. Now the 10 of Arrows is like that 10 of Swords. It's like, oh, you're at your end. I'm not going to be feeling betrayed by this anymore. Whether it was like, and it was like became a situation, an environment where you just became more enemies than friends or partners. And you felt like you both felt like you were doing each yourselves an injustice by staying in a situation that kind of like lost love along the way due to these frequent fights and betrayals. And you know, there could have been like lack of communication, or you know, feeling betrayed in different ways, whether it's by outside parties or families and friends getting involved, or you know, just many different small ways, like same arguments over the small things. And maybe there was a steady situation, but it's like it became so constant and repetitive, the arguments, the fighting, the bickering, and nothing ever really changed. It just became continuous, and you found out that things weren't improving. It was just getting worse, and you know, you were getting more and more unhappy, and it had to change. You had to put an end to it. Maybe this person felt the same way, but you were waiting each other out on who would say it first. They see you as competition, conflict. They see you as someone being argumentative. Somebody who can be dominating and critical, or somebody that is empowering yourself. Maybe you felt ganged up on or pushed around or bullied in some kind of way, and now they're starting to see that you're starting to stand up for yourself, your beliefs, and maybe you conceded a lot in the situation to stop from fighting, to save yourself from the argument. And you know, you kind of just like, even though you were upset and resentful, you'd fight about it. There's the times that you would just kind of just rather not deal with it and fight, and became more avoidant. And now you're starting to kind of like stand up for yourself and your beliefs, and now you're trying to stake some kind of claim because you felt like your voice was kind of muted in the past. This could be competition or feeling ganged up in some kind of way, and you felt kind of outnumbered in some kind of way. And maybe in the past that's why you felt like you couldn't stick up for yourself or speak, because you did feel outnumbered. This person had some kind of hold over you, or you just wanted to save yourself from the argument, since this person can be kind of relentless. But now you're like, screw it, I'm standing up for myself. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not going to live in a purgatory state of like, and being stuck in some purgatory, which is like kind of like a definition of hell, which is like, you know. And I'm going to give myself a chance to be happy. And, you know, sometimes it just happens. And sometimes, you know, when we have a long relationship or a relationship in general, sometimes when we grow and evolve, and sometimes we don't grow and evolve together. Sometimes when we meet each other and we learn a life lesson as a catalyst for us to spiritually evolve, sometimes when the lesson is learned and the alignments move, it kind of will prompt us into our next lesson. Our next kind of like, because if you look at it, life is more like a game. It's like a video game. You go through each level of kind of awakening or evolution, and they give you the universe and planets, they give you tests along the way. And it depends on how far you get, depending on your choices that you make. And it depends on how much you learned and evolved throughout your life. And this is, I feel like a soul tie is done. And it's time to move on in order for that next portion of learning. And it sucks to have that movement and that change when you've had so much history and love within the situation. But we know what would happen if you stayed just for the sake of that, because it did lead you to unfulfillment. They did feel like they had some kind of power over you, though. And, you know, perhaps you did concede, but you're finally sticking up for yourself. And whatever things that you allowed to happen, or you felt that you kind of just didn't want to deal with or fight about, and you kind of gave in, that is all ending now. And now you're standing up for everything of your beliefs and, you know, your rights and all of that. And, you know, this is more on its side. 8 of Stones, skill. Eight of Stones. There's something that you need to put the work in, something that you've been avoiding doing. Maybe it's due to self-confidence or dealing with this certain high conflict situation. This could be an end to a relationship, or a marriage, or a business partnership, a job, or, you know, a love relationship. But whatever this has been, it's been rather codependent. You gave yourself too much of it, and you definitely trampled over your own values and to kind of appease this situation. And it took a lot of your energy and time away from building skill into your work and your career life and your own self-development away. It's time to get back into yourself. Your hopes and dreams is to be able to build skill, to put the time and work into your craft that you've chosen. But it feels like you're just trying to get out of this kind of depression, or whatever work that you're putting in. You're having these issues with self-confidence or imposter syndrome. This person kind of dominated you for a while, or this situation, and it definitely took a hit at your self-confidence, and maybe that's been holding you back. And maybe you've been procrastinating on the things that you know that you want to or should, because you just have been feeling not good enough. 5 of Stones. This is feeling left out in the cold. This is loss. This is rejection. This is the outcome, what you will gain from this experience, the reward or quality or tool that will help you achieve a breakthrough. It's to feel this loss, feel this rejection. It's going to take some time to heal from this situation and to bring yourself back into balance. At least you gave yourself a good step into being able to do that by pulling yourself away from this, because this situation was draining you. And it seems like you're being taken advantage of, and if you were suspicious, if you were, I feel like you were. This ending could have been happened. Maybe this person started to feel like kind of apathetic or kind of detached after a while. You're unsure as to why. Started to be increasingly unsatisfied or unhappy, because maybe this person kind of like had a wandering eye. There was a sense of mistrust here because of it, possibly, or maybe it was just these small betrayals with a lack of boundaries because of them wanting to be a scene stir and exciting and deal with the people around them and have that quick energy. And perhaps they did have that wandering eye, which left you felt rejected, or it made them take up sides with other people up against you, whether if it was family or friends or things like that. Like you felt like you weren't protected or stood up for in some kind of way, and it left you feeling left out in the cold. Knight of Swords. And because of this feeling of rejection or this lack of feeling valued or appreciated, like you got in a lot of fights, and you know, like they became more and more disassociated, and you became more and more argumentative and sharp with your words. Be careful with the sharpness of your words, because some things could be said out of hurt that can't be taken back. And if you do have shared expenses like home and children, it might not be beneficial if you have to work collaboratively in some kind of way. So be careful of that. Now, the Knight of Swords can be really sharp-tongued. They would go after someone quickly and very sharply. Someone who kind of goes in there and attacks someone. Yes, it can be true and intellectual, but it can be something that is true but in a really mean way. Like an honest, blunt, hurtful truth. And it's somebody who can be observant enough to hit a certain core, and it was like a constant fighting and attacks because of this. This is like going for the throat, and it could have been due because of feeling rejected and left out in the cold or betrayed from the situation multiple times, that you had to put an end to it. But I don't think it would help to continue the hurtful tirade if you have to work collaboratively during and after the separation. This person did have a wandering eye. This person was kind of selfish and kind of immature. He was like, he or she kind of expected a parent than a relationship. This is someone who is like, needs a lot of attention and validation, and you know, who likes to have people like look at them, and who craves it. And this is like fast movement towards like being single and going out in the town. This person lacks loyalty or commitment. And if this was a marriage or a long-term relationship, this person never really fought for you or was on your side as much as you thought that they should be. What turned out in the past that you had a lot of love for, perhaps they were always kind of selfish, but you felt a soul connection to them, and perhaps it was your emotional connection that kind of made you overlook a lot of things about this person. And it made you kind of fall in love with the potential of this person or environment or situation than it did with their actual character. And maybe you went into it thinking that things could improve or you would change, and you found out that, you know, people don't really change. And if you want somebody, you don't go for their potential, you go for their character, that they have it as of now. Perhaps you were too giving to this situation in the past, and you felt more that it was a soul connection, but it wasn't. I feel like you saw a lot more within this situation, or you thought that this person valued a lot more than they actually did. And it's like you fell in love with the potential of your idea of them than their actual character, because their actual character turned out to be selfish and immature. And you felt left out in the cold because of it, but that's who they were. It's not that they changed, it's kind of who they were that you didn't see, because you kind of filled in the blanks to what you thought they were and what you wanted it to be than what they actually were. You know, this person was selfish. This person never saw their own faults, and maybe, you know, you kind of both had that issue that, you know, you never saw your own faults in the situation, and that's why you both totally thought that you were right, and you stopped wanting to see the other person's point of view. And that's why it was this constant struggle and fight, and it became really explosive the longer it went, because of the selfishness, because this person was selfish. This person was always selfish, because you just didn't see what was there. Now, you saw this situation as something that was giving, as something that was charitable. You gave more, thinking that you could improve the situation, you could improve this person and their trajectory, and you could make something that wasn't all that great and like an old rock into a diamond. But you stayed for the potential than what was really there, and that may have made it consist the way it did for as long as it did. But when you started standing up for yourself, things kind of became undeniable on how unfair things were towards you and for you, because you overdid, you overproduced, you overgave, while this person as a result underperformed and undergave. Because maybe it was a fact of overdoing that made this person underdo, I don't know, but it became explosive because this person was just kind of self-centered and selfish, and that, you know, standing up for yourself, you finally started standing up for yourself and speaking up for yourself and staking claim to what you believe, your values and beliefs, and because you became willing to walk away from the things that you don't want, because you stopped seeing just the potential and you started seeing the reality of the situation, that all that glitters is not gold, that you perceived the situation wrongly over because of your emotional thinking, and you filled in the gaps to this person's character, and it didn't align with the reality of the situation. It's time to move ahead, because this person is this person, and falling in love with potential only brings disappointment. I feel like you're going to enter better things, though. I feel like this was a transition and you've just had to get over this kind of like this blockage, because that's what it became. It became a blockage. And now you're actually freed up to go towards something that is more fulfilling, because this was not fulfilling. This is not fulfilling. Because what's underneath is their abundance. You have to let the situation go because you have abundance coming in. And now that you're freeing yourself and your energy away from this situation, you could actually work on this. So I'll go ahead into the astrology of this, and it kind of reflects somewhat. If you want to hear it, you could stay definitely for that. If not, that's pretty much your reading. That's your reading. But so I'll add some light on this. So with Saturn's transit, when Saturn enters the Nakshatra Dhanishtha, it will activate your 8th and 3rd house, which is ruled by Mars. Now, 8th is the natural house of Saturn, and it would definitely have huge benefits for fields of research, of insurance, investigations, and occult studies and practices. And reporters and accountants, people that work in the media, journalists, they will definitely have a huge benefit and increase into their career because of it. Those that run a personal business, which I see here, whatever you're coming back, it's going to free you up towards your potential and towards your destiny. And with if you do have a personal business that you are creating, or you're in the middle of creating, or you have designs to create, if you're running a personal business now, this is the best time for you, because you could see gains. It's slowly increasing gains, which is at a steady and slow pace. It's not quick like Mars, but it is gains, and it will lead you to success. Your 8th house is also the house of slow and unexpected gains, so a possible unexpected gain of financial gain could come into your life. Maybe it's due to after this. If this is a divorce, you're going to get a settlement. I don't know, but it's going to be an unexpected gain. Really be careful of that. Don't invest it in anything risky, and don't spend it frivolously, because like with the 8th house, it also is also the house of loss as well. The house of unexpected losses and unexpected gains. So be careful with that money. If you do get a monetary gain, be careful. Don't gamble it away, or risky investments, or spend it frivolously, because it's like easy come and potentially easy go. So be careful of that. So Saturn will activate your 3rd house, which is the house of self-effort, courage, bravery, and valor. And this is it. You're standing up for yourself. You're having strength within yourself, and you're having the courage to go forward into a new level of life. You will start working harder to achieve your goals and your ambitions, since Saturn is the nakshatra of Mars, which is a fiery planet. It's all about hard work and effort to achieve your goals. So you will start giving 100% at this period towards your goals and ambitions. And Saturn would definitely give you the motivation and drive to be able to succeed towards your goals. But remember, any gain, it's not going to be quick. It's going to be slow and steady, because Saturn is a very slow moving planet, and it's not about big wealth income as in like fast money. It's about slow and steady gains with effort and hard work, because Saturn, it values hard work. and effort and patience. So you will have those increases. Just don't expect large increases right away when it comes. It's slow and steady, except a monetary gain. That's unexpected. But with that could be unexpected loss too. So whatever you put your hard work and effort into 100% of, whether it be your, relationship, jobs, professions, your social sector and networks, your achievements will slowly increase to victory. So remember that this is a transition, that you had to get past this to get to where you're going. So Saturn will give you the motivation to achieve your objectives. Also, communication will improve day by day, since the third house is the house of communication, but mainly written communication. So if you writing emails, if you're going to write novels, journalism, journalists, media, you're going to have a huge benefit and increase in this throughout this period and transit. Your second house, your second and the seven houses, since those are the houses that are ruled by planet Mars, second house transits will improve your finances and cash flow. Your bank balance will start to rise, not suddenly though, slowly and over time, like Saturn, because Saturn denotes long-term stability and permanence. Not sudden, but slow and steady increases. Now, what calendar that I go by is by Vedic Sidereal. In order to find your Vedic Sidereal chart, you would go and find a Vedic Sidereal birth chart calculator. Put in your name, location, your birth time, your date, and it will give you a number of charts. Your birth chart, D1, D9, all of that. That's all part of it. Now, and I usually go by the Vedic Sidereal moon and rising. So you can do it by, you could go by this calculations on your birth chart, or your D9 and your D10 chart, which is your later career, your later portion of life, and or your married life, or your middle life to your later life. But it's definitely beneficial to use this into your benefit and know what is working for you and with you throughout this time period and throughout this Saturn transits. And I hope this was super helpful for you. I'm sorry you're going through this. If it does resonate though, feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment below. It really helps the algorithm and to help get my channel out. Donation box below. If you feel moved to donate to the channel, helps it to keep it going, and keeps me giving you content like this. If you're able to do so, much appreciated. If you're not able to, no worries. I still love you lots, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.